Wherefore, Part 18. The herd is sat around a picnic bench in the garden of the Golden Fleece. It is mid-afternoon, so not too busy yet. They are going through the ritual of dealing with each other with clothes on, and Tasha wonders how many more times this will happen, how many more members of the herd there will be. So, when I shapeshift, I'm a cow, Clarissa says, with very wide eyes. That's about the size of it, Tasha replies. Definitely a cow. Not a bull? Definitely a cow, Alfred chips in, as the only one of them who really knows. Clarissa grins. Awesome. Tasha experiences a warm, fuzzy sort of feeling over this. Out on the common she had read Clarissa's unclad body as male. No wonder the poor woman had been in such a dire state of shock at the time. Sat at the table with the rest of them, Clarissa is unmistakably female, and shapeshifts female, clearly. Oh, if I could figure out how to do that the rest of the time. Clarissa gives them a small smile. Tasha has other trans friends. She knows how hard it is, especially the long wait to get any help. We don't even have any control of how we change into cows, Amy says, ever the pessimist. I think that will change, Alfred said. I knew what was happening. That's new. We could all become more aware, more in control. And then we will use our power to fight crime, Tasha says, deadpan. They all look at her. She keeps her face straight for as long as she can. Ah, says Amy, attempted humour, I see now. Tasha rather likes Amy, gets the often bitter humour and respects the desire for distance. She sees a certain kind of strength in her grumpy fellow herd member. Whatever is going on here, whatever the significance of how they change, Tasha has taken this decision to just love her fellow herd members unconditionally. She belongs to them, and this is the only approach that makes sense to her. Amy pulls a book and a selection of printed pages from her bag and dumps the lot on the table. We aren't cows exactly, she says. I think we're aurochs. The images are vibrant. Many show cave paintings. There are some old illustrations. Very big cows as far as Tasha can see. Prehistoric cows. We have been extinct in the UK for a long time, but survived in Poland until the 1600s. There is a project to try and retrieve auroch DNA from domestic breeds. And now there is us. Speech made, Amy sits back. Tasha has the feeling Amy plans her speeches in advance. She reaches across the table and leafs through the images. They are compelling to look at. She has no idea how they all appear in their cow form, but this certainly feels right, striking a chord inside her. She looks to Alfred, who is frowning. You saw us. What do you think? I don't know. It's not easy going from these illustrations to what I saw, but it could make sense. It feels right, don't you think? Tasha picks up a striking image of a horned human surrounded by others with a similar mix of animal and person to their bodies. It looks like cave art, but it seems to have been painted onto modern floor tiles. What's this? She asks Amy, who just stares back. Well, you put it on the table, Tasha says, hoping she doesn't sound too confrontational. Putting it on the table is not consent to a conversation, Amy says, and then she looks away. Clarissa laughs and then looks embarrassed when Tasha turns towards her. There is a dismissive shrug. I just like hearing shit like that come from someone other than me for a change, Clarissa says. It's not funny, Amy says. I consent to being amused, Clarissa replies. Get out of that one in 3 moves or less and I'll marry you. And to everyone's amazement, Amy's face softens into a smile. Caroline and Elizabeth saunter into the pub garden and head for an empty table in the sun. Seeing her neighbour on the other occupied bench, Caroline gives Tasha a little wave, then wonders what the mismatched quartet have in common. She does her best to eavesdrop, but Elizabeth is in an expansive mood and wants to talk. You should have come along. He even did the one with the vowels. Caroline shakes her head. Is there anyone you don't fancy right now? It might be a shorter list. Elizabeth laughs. Oh, come on. How could anyone listen to him and not melt? Caroline nods, although she doesn't feel it, because in truth no one really does it for her that way at the moment. She's finding her non-sexual menopausal warrior woman identity doesn't need any sort of male validation. But she does enjoy gossip. Honestly, Elizabeth continues, Adam Horovitz could read me his shopping list and that would do it for me. She pauses as though considering this experience and then fans herself furiously with a beer mat. As the tables start filling up, the wizard Wambleforth insinuates themselves into a quiet corner and sips fruit juice. The wizard Wambleforth is in disguise and looks like no one in particular. Exudes an aura of utter irrelevance, such that curious gazes turn quickly into incurious gazes that slide off and move attention to other areas of the beer garden. 10 minutes or so later, the wizard Wigstan enters the beer garden, disguised as someone very likely to be in the beer garden of a summer's evening. One of those people you see around all the time, but whose name you do not know. Safely familiar and part of the colourful mix of Stroud, but not in your little clique, nor your wider and more generous social circles. The sort of person you smile at in passing and think about no further. It is a highly effective disguise. The wizard Wigstan scans the assembled people and others, notes the party of shapeshifters with some interest and wonders what they turn into. Not badgers, for sure. The wizard Wigstan has a particular affinity for badgerkin of all kinds. The air smells faintly of were-rhubarbs, but he isn't sure which of the people around him have been touched that way. It takes him 3 goes to spot the wizard Wambleforth, and to overcome the certainty that this was not the person he had been looking for. Wigstan sits down, far enough away that it does not look as though he intends anything. Close enough to communicate. A single drop of water falls from the sky onto Wigstan's hand. It tells him that Wambleforth is paying attention. Wigstan sends a bee over to Wambleforth with an update on the were-rhubarb situation. After a little while, Wigstan's glass of ginger beer becomes a glass of water full of thoughts about beavers. He is annoyed about the loss of the ginger beer. He should have seen this coming, really. They are definitely not talking. No mouths move. The magics between them are so tiny and short-lived that a person would have to stand between them to notice anything at all. As the only witness is your narrator, they will be safe enough. There will be no wizard jealousies to contend with. Both of them are tired of the pointless thwarting malarkey. Both had mentors who were keen to teach them that first and foremost thwarting other wizards is what a wizard does. Both have come to the conclusion that less thwarting and more getting things done would be preferable and that cooperation could be a thing. Both are starting to question the whole thwarting tradition and to wonder who or what that really serves. Your almost ubiquitous, not quite omnipresent narrator smiles upon this covert assignation and wonders who to follow next.